This is Steve Ridgel, and I think my New Year's resolution for this year, at least on a spiritual level, is going to be taken from the end of the book of Joshua, when Joshua kind of does his farewell address to the people. And in that he says that very famous statement, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Now, my resolution's to serve better this year. But I will tell you three things I think you learn from that little statement if you read the text that will help you make your resolutions and stick with your resolutions. Number one, he starts by talking about all the things God had done for them, how God had brought them out of Egypt and how he defeated their enemies. And I think it's helpful sometimes when you're thinking about your spiritual resolutions to sit down and think about what God's done for you. It will help you keep your spiritual resolutions to realize what God's already done. Number two, he says, but if you would rather, he acknowledges that there's a choice. I think that's a really important thing about all of our resolutions, to realize that we are making choices. When you make a resolution, you are choosing a certain thing you want to do. But when the new year starts, if it's your New Year's resolution, every day you're making a choice how to live out that resolution. In this case, a choice to serve God or a choice to serve other gods. Popularity, pleasure, abundance, your addictions, whatever all the other choices are out there that can be the God of your life. When you make a resolution, you're saying, I'm going to choose this every day. And I appreciate Joshua acknowledging, you know what, here's what God's done. But if you want to choose somebody else to follow, that's your decision. And the third thing he says, as for me and my house, we will. One is, I think, in part of that is everybody ought to acknowledge everybody does leadership. Now, I'm a big believer in dads and husbands leading their families spiritually. I don't mean telling them what to do. I mean being out in front, doing and leading. And so I really appreciate that it's for me and my house. But I think that's true for all parents, grandparents, spouses, even kids. You have a peer group. You have a circle of influence at church or at school or wherever. And I think it's really important that we realize that I'm saying I'm aware I have a circle of influence and I want to lead them this way. And the other thing, I think every resolution starts with this, a decision and a declaration to try to do it. I'm big on claiming your resolutions. I think I'm preaching the last Sunday of the year at Hillcrest in Abilene. It's kind of become a tradition for me kind of to give the last sermon of the year. And I always talk about resolutions. And I think this is the one we're going to talk about because we're going to encourage people to declare their resolution. I will serve the Lord. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I think it's important to have family mission statements, if you want to call them that. I don't know that you have to be formal and write them down, but you ought to say, this is who I want our family to be. This is who I want to be. I'm going to be this. I hope you will follow me or walk along with me or go with me. I think it's really important to declare what you intend to do for the Lord. And then, of course, ask God to help you, submit it to His will. But remember what God has done for you. You do have a choice, and keeping resolutions is a whole series of choices. You do have a circle of influence, so make your declaration that we will serve the Lord in 2024.